So here's part 2 of the abundance mindset, practicality, pros, and pitfalls. All right, so I'm going to jump into the law of attraction nonsense and the issues with that. Law of attraction, realistically, preys a lot on people's romanticized spiritual desires, okay, for the desire that I think we all have to a degree or another about life being very magical and special things happening. Like, that's something that everybody wants, and I love the idea of magical things happening, but I like to make my spirituality very, very practical. So in terms of abundance, I'm adding in my whole speech on it being practical, okay? So I'm going to give you a real life example. As all of you know, look at all my material, I love the superhero genre. I've fashioned myself into a superhero and do all of that. And in addition to that, I collect and invest in vintage comic books and vintage comic art, okay? So a while back, I was contacted by somebody who owned a piece of original comic art that I've wanted to own for a long time. That's one of my favorite art pieces. And I was like, wow, this came to me, you know, like, I must have done something great really spiritually, or like, wow, that's magical, or everything else. No, what I did really great spiritually, what I did really great metaphysically was what I did physically, okay? And a lot of times in spiritual circles, when great things happen or things that mean things to us very deeply, we attribute it, or people can attribute it to God, karma, some other law of attraction principle, or some kind of gift thing, and all this other ethereal kind of stuff. And all that may play somewhat of a part. However, it can almost always be broken down very practically into particular actions that that person took. So for example, for me, law of abundance, right? Okay, so mindset of abundance. I involved myself in the comic art community, okay, by being on the websites, sending people emails, connecting with people in person, okay, developing relationships, all right? That's another thing. You develop the right relationships in the right environment and things can happen. So, and I was putting myself out there. I also, on the internet, was advertising my wants by saying like, hey, if anybody has this material or things connected with this, contact me. I would be a buyer. And so being in that environment where comic art is in abundance, because that's what it's all about, someone contacted me who owned a particular piece of art that I really wanted. Magical, law of attraction, it's practical. I involved myself in the environment where that particular thing is abundant. And so being in that, at one point, something I really wanted came to me. Is that how law of attraction works? Why would we even call it law of attraction, right? It's understanding environment, understanding lifestyle. I was spending a lot of time connecting with people in that comic art community, all right? That got me a lot of information and likability and social connections within that. And it happens this way for every area of life. It is a very rare thing for special things to come completely out of context. So for example, if I decided to, let's be extreme, take a trip, I haven't done anything like this on this video yet, so okay, there's an abundance of shreds. All right. If I decided to go to Africa and take a walk in the Sahara Desert, just because, right? And I banged my foot on something in the desert and I looked, I moved the sand aside, and there was a chest. It was a treasure chest, and inside that treasure chest was a piece of comic art that I really wanted. Yeah, that would be pretty fucking magical. It'd be like a Disney movie, right? Is that something that we should even meditate on? Is that something we should even have our mindset on? So like, for example, mindset of abundance. I am not putting one iota of a mindset of abundance towards comic art when I'm walking in the desert. I'm realistic. I may not know 100% what it's abundance, but I know that's not what it is, what's there, what's generally available. I wouldn't block anything in my mind to say that it's impossible, but that's not where I have my energy. Where our energy is best suited is placing it in the environments that have the type of abundance, that is the type of abundance we want to experience or we want to build in our life. Okay, so if I'm having a conversation with, let's say, my attorney and his accountants, I can bring up the fact that I'm into comic art and like, hey, do you happen to know anybody, right? Okay, that's just good advertising of myself and my desires in life. But the likelihood of, let's say now in some other general corporate kind of meeting, that information is going to be in abundant, no. Is it worth a little bit of energy? It's worth a little bit of energy, but that's all it's worth. It's not worth like digging like, oh, can you just then ask every single person you know, give me the phone numbers of everybody you know, and let me talk to them and see if they know where that stuff is. No, that's a waste of time. But if I connect with people, say in a comic convention, and they're in that, and he says, yeah, I have a lot of friends that do stuff. I don't know if they have what you want. We're like, well, you know what? Would you mind giving me some of their contacts? I can speak to them or email them or things. Okay, that's a worthy place to put the energy. All right. So when thinking about the mindset of abundance, I actually think that it is more important to think about what you want an abundance of, and then thinking about or asking people, if you don't know, where is that abundance in terms of an environment? And then, of course, figuring out either by being there or what kind of lifestyle would be involved in that. And is that a kind of lifestyle you want to be involved in? All right. So, for example, if a person wants to get like shreds, okay, and everybody that they hang around with, they drink, maybe they smoke, but let's say they don't work out, they don't exercise, and they're just over-intellectualized with nothing physical, and you hang around just people like that and environments like that, well, that's what there's an abundance of. So if you want more intellectuality, you're going to get it there, all right? But you're not going to get the physicality. You're not going to get the physical results, and that's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter what kind of mindset you have. What are you doing with your body? Where's the environment? Okay, so this is super important, guys, and I'm bringing practicality to a lot of these concepts that are out there. And sometimes when we're in environments that have very little of something, when that something does come up, okay, maybe we do want to value it a little bit more because there's not that much of it there. Like when I was in Maui and on the road to Hana, and I hit that special ice cream spot, okay, that people who take the road to Hana will all know about, is unbelievable ice cream. And I was eating more ice cream than I would normally eat, because I rarely have ice cream, but I'm like, this is special, and it's hot as fuck out here, and I heard about this, and once I tasted it, and it was so delicious, and I just had an abundance of that in that spot, because you know what? I knew there was a scarcity of ice cream. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And especially on that path. So I did treat it differently, and that's okay. It is okay to treat something differently because its qualities are scarce in that environment, but not developing a mindset that's a total mindset of scarcity, that every single thing you want, it's scarce. Just say, wait a second, it's the environment, it's the lifestyle. And if you switch the idea of just this abundance thing, no matter where you're at, because it's actually not practical to think that you can have an abundance of everything you want wherever you're at. That's not how nature works. It's totally impractical and downright false. So people who feed you that information that, oh, things will just come to you no matter where you're at. No, that's just not true. It doesn't happen that way. But being in the right environment, then it can happen that way. And then it could just seem magical when it's more natural. So that's what I'm about, the natural life, and making spirituality and life progress about an awareness of nature and its qualities, and being successful as fuck in that. It takes work, guys. It takes awareness. Here's the information. Subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff.